Hey family, give me a high five. I bet you there's 5 people that you can think of that you can share this with. We want to make it easy for you to ask a question. Just put it right there in the chat. We may not be able to answer all the questions, but we'll do our very best. Hello family, Pastor George here, ready for another exciting episode of The Wealth Cycle. We just finished an episode, you want to check it out, where we had Charlie Brookins and we talked about how to make it through holidays and still remain healthy and not fall off the wagon and just be good with it. But guess what we're going to cover right now? We're going to show you about being a purpose-driven health. The Bible says in 3 John 2, it says, "Beloved, I pray that you prosper, be in health as your soul prospers." In that prayer, he's saying, I want you to prosper in 3 areas. Prosper means also not just financial, it means have a good journey in life. And then your soul to prosper. That's how you know God. And here at the Family of Champions, we have a lot of knowledge in that area. And then he said, be in health. And that's what we're going to cover today. We want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I can't think of a better person to share this with and to go over this with than Charlie Brookins. How you doing, Charlie?
I am blessed, Pastor George. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming back. So look, we've learned certain things. We've learned about eating nutritious. We learned about being healthy, and we've learned this. But then the challenge I think that we have right now, and I'm sorry I have to mention some swear words, everybody, is that when you're going through life, it's like, and then, do you ever notice whenever you're on a diet, people just help me out in the chat a little bit. Whenever you're driving and you're trying to eat right, it's like these fast food places, it's like they're literally talking to you. Come on in here. They're telling you it's delicious. It's either cheap or it's fast. And whenever you see these 3 F's, oh, I'm sorry I'm mentioning 4-letter F words, but when you see these F's, you know you're in trouble, I found out. If you see fried, fast, or free food, that's usually a problem. Isn't it?
Well, I mean, this is the biggest challenge that we have with our health is really that we live in a world that's not set up for us to be healthy, right? We live in a world where commerce and convenience are most important. And that's why I talk about purpose-driven health, because we have to at least get our mindset right first before we go out into the world, because the world is throwing all kinds of different things at us to take away from our health. And what purpose-driven health really is talking about, you know, the word says in Ephesians 2:10, we were created to do good work. So we know we have purpose, but we also need fuel, and we need health in order to actually work through that purpose. So purpose-driven health is really focusing on purpose-driven eating, purpose-driven fitness, and I can break down what that looks like a little bit. So word also says in 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all to the glory of God. So our eating should be an act of worship. Our moving should be an act of worship. And all of this sounds fabulous from a spiritual perspective, right? But what does that look like practically is really what we need to look at, because we're living in a practical world.
Exactly.
So that's what I want to break down for you, because yes, like I can say, oh yes, I should be eating to the glory of God. But here is, my child wanted animal style fries, from In-N-Out. It's like, is that to God's glory? I don't think so. But looking at purpose-driven foods is looking at God's buffet. Right. And then again, we always start with the word. First mention of food is in Genesis 1. Right? Genesis 1:29 says, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that bears fruit. These will be yours for food. So plant-based foods, plant-powered foods are our foundation. Those are the first mention. And then for 9 chapters, that's all we were eating. Then at chapter 9, he says everything that walks. And
You see how long people lived back then when they ate that.
That's what I'm saying.
What's so funny is that you started quoting the Bible. Now, we said that when God promised on the earth, all the plants, all the things like this. Now, if you look at it, there's natural and then there's so much artificial. I think people are eating so much artificially now, they're not even eating food like that. That's another reason why. Also, when we talk about stewardship, that you're a stewardship over your body. So you have stewardship in 4 areas. Your time, 86,400 seconds in a day. The talent and skill God gives you. Third, which we talk about today, is your temple, your body. And I'm going to come back to that. Fourth is treasure, your finances. All of these, if you don't have your health, you can't do the other ones. You cannot do time. You already know if you pass away, you can't do time,
Right.
right? It's time. Second is your talent or skills. How many people come to work tired all the time, or they can't perform because if you have a poor, healthy diet, that affects how you can operate and how you can do things.
Absolutely.
So when you're doing so that's why, and then financially, there's a lot of people that either waste a lot of money and they can do certain things and eat healthy and then also prolong the period that they can also generate wealth and be healthy.
No, absolutely.
Right. So back to purpose-driven
eating.
and then having some practical steps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we know that God's buffet. So we've got these plant-powered foods. Now God created them, right? And they were also created to give us the most health, right? The most antioxidants, the most healing food. So we want to prioritize those plant-powered foods.
Gotcha.
But we also look at foods practically in terms of the quality of the calories. So this is how we get to like, well, how do
God's
I judge
buffet
my food?
and
God's
quality of the
buffet and the quality of the calories.
Yes.
So when we are even on God's buffet, so we start with high quality. We start with a potato, okay?
Right.
Potato, high quality, God's buffet. So we know that we're in a good place. But then there's two things that we often do to them. It's how we cook them and what we add to them, right?
So if we, the fry part, everybody.
if we just bake a potato,
right,
you're gonna be fine.
Right.
But then if you add butter and sour cream and cheese and all, then the quality of that calorie keeps going down. Right. So we want to stay on the high quality side. You can take that same potato, you can bake it, you can put some chives in it, you can even put a little bit of olive oil in it, but you keep it on the high quality side when we stay in God's buffet.
Right.
So processing moves us down.
Right.
For example, like I said, my child was like, I want animal style fries.
Right.
Now, the potato was okay. Then you fry it, and then you add all the animal stuff. So then we're way low on the quality of that calorie.
Right. It's like, so what you're saying is instead of, we talked earlier, I've heard someone, by the way, say you can either have what's called a cheat day or you can make better choices. So what we can do is look at how we can compromise. So start looking at having a plan on your diet where you're able to do that. Like we take a potato and like for this whole animal style thing is that we eat a salad first and then we eat a regular potato. Then we're saying, hey, if we're gonna eat the animal style, then we're just gonna eat that once and be done.
Be done.
Not doing the animal style, then the burger, then the fries and doing that, and then eating that for lunch and eating something else for dinner.
Yes.
So just doing it one time.
Yeah, and it's again that 80% rule. We want 80% of the quality of high quality calories ideally, and then there's room to play after that. So when you look at your food, you want to look at it as like how high on the quality spectrum is this? Right. On the other side of man's buffet, there are foods that have no God-made ingredients in it, right? That are completely chemically made.
Right.
And that's why you have to be a radical label reader. You have to read those labels. That man-made food is going to do nothing for you positively. I call those purpose-draining foods.
Purpose-draining. Okay, we got purpose-driven.
Right, we've got the purpose-driven foods are on God's buffet. The purpose-draining foods are the ones that are going to be firmly in man's buffet because of all the things that are happening to it to please your flavor centers, but to jack up your health. Because again, those foods were not created for health. They were created for wealth, for commerce on that side. So not our wealth, but somebody else's pockets. Right.
So let's break down a little bit there because see, people are going to say, I want to live, but I'm going to give you an exact example. As you know, there was that water, they had that water crisis in Mississippi and we flew there, okay? So I just want everybody to know that I went to Mississippi, that's where my family's from, and I went there and we delivered all that water. A woman came in that church and said, are you said my mother's maiden name? Are you her son? I said, yes. She said, I have a pecan pie that I made for you and I brought here. I opened it up and I looked at it. And I took one little bite. I finished everything. I took one little bite and I said, where'd you get the pecans from? She said, my sister has a farm in Georgia and sent them to me.
Wow.
So I'm just letting you know up front, so I'm gonna get a fist bump out of this. I cut that thing up into such small pieces, I still have some left.
Nice.
And I froze it.
Yeah.
But I ate it. I'm not gonna not eat it.
Absolutely.
But what's the solution for us to be purpose-driven is that I'm going over what I heard, is that I'm gonna eat a salad, I'm gonna eat a very healthy meal, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eat a very small slice of it. And you said 3 bites, or you're doing bites, but they're relatively large bites, but I'm eating that every day, and I'm not gaining weight. I don't feel bad, I'm not sluggish, because I'm just eating it in proportion.
But also the quality of calories in that pie is probably much higher than what you would buy at a grocery store. Right?
All right.
Because those pecans came from the ground, right? Yes. And I'm sure they use, pure ingredients versus, a bunch of chemicals. So again, your body can metabolize that, right? Your body knows what that stuff is. It's when we eat all the chemicals, our body's like, I don't know what this is. And oftentimes it metabolizes it and turns it into fat.
Right.
So it's the quality of knowing what you're eating and being purpose-driven in those choices and looking at that plate, half vegetables, quarter protein, quarter, some kind of fiber. Then you're feeding your body what it needs. You have sustained energy to ultimately serve God and serve the people that you are here to serve, to your greatest ability.
And let me tell you an advantage to why I cut that up, and then I'm gonna even get a picture. I may even text it to you. Yeah. That I still have that pie left, and I got things so I froze it. Yeah. But this is the one thing that I'll always remember about is this. I cut up in such small pieces and I eat a little bit at a time, and I like it, and my kids now see it, and I share it, is this. I have no guilt. You see, when I get this if you've been to, you guys, when you get food from Mississippi, the SIP, when you eat it, what I used to do, my wife used to always say, I would set it down and look at it. Yeah. And then I would eat it real slow. But I would eat that whole pie all in one day. Right. And just knock that whole thing down. And by the way, back to the health and the quality thing, just so you know, that was sugar on sugar on sugar. So I'm just letting you know now.
Right.
Because when I went in the room
to sit down,
because when I went in there, and then first of all, they were very kind, everything was cool, but this was Mississippi. They had fried chicken, baked, they had oxtail, they had literally in there. They said, Pastor, sit down here and eat. I was like, and I looked this woman in the face. I said, ma'am, I can't sit down.
I will never.
I said, if I sit down, I will not get back up.
Yes.
I said, I will not sit down. But when that woman came in and called and said my mother's name, I did acknowledge her. I said, ma'am, I said, we got one more truck coming full of water. As soon as I unload that truck, I sat down and I said, I'm gonna knock down a pizza in front of you. Right. I'm gonna give you a hug after every one. Yeah. But then you understand we have to balance it. Absolutely. So that's why I don't have that guilt feeling. But people have to learn how to live, but then there has to be a balance. Yeah. Like a budget, like financially, like people say, oh, I want to go on trips, I want to do this and everything. Yeah, you can do that. You just can't do everything. You can't, fly to Europe, and then also we got these international people, fly to Dubai, then come back, and then go to Australia the next week and come back. Yeah. Maybe you can, but you make sure your budget and everything fills out. So just like how you have to budget that and plan that, you have to do the same thing with health.
It's the same thing when we talk about 80% night, wherever you are. You may start with 70%, right? 70%, I'm going to be, I'm going to stick to God's buffet. I'm going to cook more. I'm going to read those labels. I'm going to make sure that I have I'm going to eat the rainbow. I'm going to do those things for, 4 days a week, right? And then the other 3, I'm going to have a little dance, right? Because I'm growing towards, getting that number up to 80, 90%. But the key is it's choices, and that's where the guilt goes away. Is when you're intentional about it. If you get caught, right, and you're just like, you've already done too much, then that's where the guilt comes because you haven't planned for it. Right. Like you saw that pie, you're like, okay, I have a plan for that pie. I'm going to eat that pie. I'm going to take it home. I'm going to freeze it. So I'm going to be fine, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to have no guilt about it.
I think it's good because I think I had a plan. So also food, though, when we're eating these plates, also what's very beneficial, I notice, is that eating a good breakfast. Do you have anything about breakfast-wise that people should do? And then if you can explain what a power plate is.
No, absolutely. So with breakfast, and I know a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting, like there's a lot of different things that people are doing in terms of they're not eating breakfast and they're eating later in the day. You have to find what works best for you. But the research still shows that breakfast eaters, tend to, have the most sustained blood sugar. And also when it comes to weight, they tend to be, have a healthier weight overall. But the key thing is what you're eating for breakfast. I eat a salad for breakfast. I love my breakfast salad. I make a big salad and then I can have it, twice, during the day. Correct. But the key thing is having some kind of protein. So you can do it with a shake like you made for your daughter. Yeah. If you eat omelets, if you eat eggs, you can do an omelet. You can do overnight oats.
Sorry to interrupt you. An omelet with vegetables in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A veggie omelet.
With lots of colors.
Right? You can do sprouted grain toast with some avocado. You can throw some tomatoes on there. That's nice and filling. So again, it's finding those breakfast items that you enjoy. You can make, different 2-ingredient cookies. You can do them for breakfast and make them into muffins, and that's just oatmeal and bananas with some spices. So it's finding those things that you enjoy, right, that you can just do repeat. Non-fat Greek yogurt is great, and throwing some berries in there. But we want to get the color in there. We want to get the protein, and you don't want to overdo it. But breakfast is really when our metabolism is firing higher. So earlier in the day, that's when we want to enjoy a nice meal.
Especially if you get up in the morning. We want to talk about working out and doing things physical. But also, I want to again, we've talked about on a previous show, and also you guys want to also come back and watch that. Is about freezing fruit. You said grapes, but I'm doing blueberries. But now we actually went. Now I got a little sale on these strawberries and bananas. So now if my kids ever say something, I relabel things. I'm saying, hey, you want a shake?
Right.
Hey, you want a fruit dessert bowl? And it's Greek yogurt and strawberry and bananas. I say the names that the commercial that they use that's usually bad, like a shake. My kids say, hey, I want to go down and get a strawberry shake. Come on, sit right down. I'm gonna write Mick Thompson on it, or Thompson Filet. Whatever name brand. But then start getting them to start thinking that same way with kids. You guys remember we want to do something called generational health.
Well, the freezer is your friend. I just want to, and even with conventional stores or wherever you shop, because you can get organic produce at a cheaper price and in the freezer. And oftentimes people say, well, I get produce and then it's bad in 2 days. Keep it in your freezer. Just take out a small amount. I do that with artichoke hearts and sweet corn. All of those things. Just take out a small amount, put those in your salads, and then you still have there's no excuses for not having what you need.
And use them as strengths, not excuses.
Absolutely.
Like in other words, excuse people say is that the fruit, different things go bad. And it's a very, very good money saving technique. When certain things go on sale, you do them. And you guys also, I made short videos on that and everything. I always call it the freezer. I call it the freezer is your friend. And I said if it's in season, it's on with us, on season. So if strawberries on sale, guess what? It's time for strawberry shakes. It's time for that, and then to do it. Second thing is I'm even getting from my kids, and also I think other people on planes, like when I'm traveling and everything, that's whenever you go things and you go to events, they're selling all these chips and snacks and all these different things. I pop my own popcorn. Okay? I pop my own popcorn and I have a way of making it. Then I also from here, you put a little olive oil in it. There's a place they sell that. And then whenever you go to a stadium, just so everybody knows, we're in Inglewood, California. There's SoFi Stadium. I bring in all my own frozen. Everybody already knows this. I bring in my own. I bring in my own food. I bring in my own popcorn. I bring in my own food. And when I walk up to that gate and I have my clear bag, that security staff looks right at me and says, "You can't bring food, into this environment." And I look them and I push the bag forward and I say, "I have a condition." I'll repeat it again. Chat, come on at me. I tell them this. I have a condition. You know what condition? You know what condition I have? I'm not paying $30 for no popcorn and no hot dog, and I ain't buying no pizza and doing that. But that's my condition. But that's it. But also, seriously, that's part of my generational wealth and health. I'm not wasting the money. But then also, I don't want to get in the habit that popcorn the other one, it makes you thirstier. So all I see next to me is people eating that popcorn and drinking beer. And I'm eating popcorn with olive oil, paying a fraction of that, drinking water, watching the same game they are.
Having the same
but you understand that? Watch this. Somebody told me this. But I have a higher quality meal than they do. You see that? I wrote it down. But hey, if you're under 40, just type this stuff down. All right. But that's where the balance comes in. Can we talk a little bit about fitness real quick?
Yes, I love talking about fitness.
So Charlie done wrote a book, Faith. See, we done hit food. Now we're going to talk about fitness. So can we talk about fitness? And then, we did one during the pandemic where we did one and everything else. But can you talk about fitness and then coming out of it? And then I want to move it into generational.
Well, same thing about fitness is purpose-driven fitness, right? So I'm going to throw it. It's a high level, but fitness should be an act of worship. Right? So we want to elevate our fitness to that level because our bodies were built to move. When we are not moving, we gain weight, we're in pain. And so so we're actually working against what our bodies were built to do. right? So our bodies were like, I'm ready to go. And you're like, no, I'm not trying to do that. And that's why we're in the situation that we are in, is because we don't move our bodies, we don't flex our muscles. And especially as we age gracefully, we have to challenge them. Now, the key is finding exercise, finding fitness that brings you joy. Right. So if you are not a Zumba class person, don't take a Zumba class. You are not going to enjoy that. But think about what you enjoyed as a kid, right? So what were the activities? Was it tennis? Was it just running around? Was it dancing, right? And you find ways to do that and do it consistently.
That is so powerful what she just said. Everybody write this down. So you know my book, Set for Life? That's a book that I thought it's a goal to show you how to achieve goals in 90 days. I thought it was a financial book, and that's the way I wrote it, and I'm coming from financial background. Do you know that how many people in fitness read that? I told you that, and they lose 30 pounds, they lose weight. Okay, don't just buy the book just for that reason. But I was called by a group of fitness trainers that run fitness events. It was in San Diego. They go, we want you to keynote speak we want you to speak at this event. And I said, before, and I sent my speaking, my kit, and they said, yeah, well, and they sent the money, everything. Wow. And I said, wait, before I come down, I just want to let you know, because I Googled, and they were the biggest fitness people. I said, I'm not a fitness person. I just want to let you know, there's someone there that's stronger than me, faster than me, can lift more weight than me. Because they had CrossFit, they had everything in there. He said, that's not why we have you come here. I get down there and I said to them, I'll never forget it, what's the best exercise to do? And because they had everyone there, jumping rope, swimming, this thing. These people were in just excellent shape. Yes. Guess what the people have been doing for 30 years? They looked right at me and they said this, and 3 of them said it. Yeah. Whichever exercise you'll do. Yep. If you'll jump rope, that'll do it. If you run, because he said like me, I don't like running. I like cycling. I like walking now. You know, I mean, there's different things that I like, whichever. So write down, this is one of your guys, remember, you see she has a power plate. See when that was called a PowerPoint. Yes. All right, see that, not that PowerPoint, your PowerPoint. Yes. So one is finding out what exercise you'll do. Yeah. That's worth it. I mean, that's consistently. And just do it consistently. Yes. And where you'll do it, and when you travel on the road, you'll find out to do it. It's like I'll never forget. I went to a conference for the top financial advisor, and I went down to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning because everything started at 8. There were like 3 people in there. Right. There are over 1,000 people in that hotel. 3 people in the gym. That tells you right there commitment level. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that a bunch of people are not gym people. Right. That's not their thing.
Right. But then I'm saying, but when we went to dinner or events and dinner, it was packed.
Yep. Because it's the food.
Because that was the food. Right. But you got to have a balance to that.
Yeah, and to the same point, when is the best time to work out, right? The best time to work out is the time where you're least likely to get distracted. Right. Right, so whenever that is for you. So yes, there are some marginal benefits of it in the morning versus but the key is you've got to find a time when you're actually going to do it. Put it in your schedule and be non-negotiable about it because life will take over and that will be the first thing that will go away. Right, is your fitness, because you're like, because that's me. Like I'm serving other people. Right. But serving yourself, putting your oxygen mask on first when it comes to fitness comes before service, so that you can actually keep doing it.
That's awesome, you guys. So I don't know if anybody's flown on an airplane in the last 40 years, but when you get on an airplane, a flight attendant stands up and says this: if the cabin were to lose pressure, mask will fall down. Put a mask over you first, then your children. First trip I ever took with my kids, the flight attendant goes like this to me: hey, put the mask over you first, then your children. And then he happened to be African American. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, put the mask over you first, then your children. I was like, first he touched me, you know, you don't even know that. All right, then I said, man, why you keep repeating it to me? Yeah. Why do you do that? He said, it is a natural reflex to take to put the mask over your kids first. Right. He goes, if you were to pass out, your kids will sit with a perfectly breathing apparatus and take it off because you don't have one on.
Oh, wow. Never heard that before.
I will never forget that. Yeah. That's true about finances. Yeah. People will have a plan and then abandon it because they didn't see. That's why you model it. Yeah. That's why you and I are here today, is to show people. Like, it ain't like something we done talked about. Yep. Ain't something we read in no book. When I fly to conference, the first thing I do is I get up and I say, I'm going to study God's word. Yeah. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get physical. Yeah. And then that's an act of worship. So when I start praising him, because see, people go to church, and then when they're doing praise and worship, they do that. Then when it's time for the word, see, people have to understand that's when they're actually receiving from God.
Yes.
If you get up and read the word first, that's when you receive God's word. Then when you work out, you get to see the benefits and how you're stewarding what God has blessed you with. Then when you go out and you're being able to be utilized, you have something to give out because you've taken God in the morning, you've studied it, you worked out, and then you got something that no one can stop you with. Endurance.
Absolutely.
Just want to let you know this, and then we're coming right back to Charlie. Sports-wise and everything, the toughest people to ever beat are people that got endurance. That's how I told people that's why I knew when I used to sit there before the game, when they were doing the national anthem, I'd look over at the other team, and I knew it was just a matter of time they were going to lose. Because I wore a weight vest during the off season, so my body wouldn't get tired. There's a definition, it's called infatigable. It's the inability for the body to tire. So I know the longer that we go, the more likely you are to lose. So all I have to do is keep playing. George, why are you talking about this, Pastor George? Because what you really have to do in life is understand God's word, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and take care of people. And you go through the process, but this is the thing that's so easy now. There's so many tools now that you didn't have before. You got an app on your phone where you can learn the Bible. You can type in all the things that are this area. Then you can do all the fit, you know what I mean? You can, you can come in and learn about fit through faith and have you walk through it, which I want you to go on that. But you see, it's now we've removed the excuses. Now we can fly on the plane, eat healthy. Because you want to know why you have to fly on the plane and bring your own food? Because they ain't gonna give you nothing no way. They ain't gonna give you nothing no way. So you might as well do that. So here, let's go back to, so after we decide what we're gonna do in fitness, then what do we do?
Then it's about doing it, right? And it's easier said than done sometimes because excuses will happen. But you have to wait. I always say, wake up and fight for the life and health God promised you. You have to do it right away, ideally. So you get your worship in, then have your shoes, right by, or go to sleep in your sweatpants, right? So you can get up and move. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. And the other thing is invite people, have accountability, right? Don't do it by yourself. Walk with your friends. Enjoy a class together with friends. Really make sure that someone else is in your corner helping you and you're helping each other, right? Because we will let ourselves down. That's why we engage in group exercise, and that's why we get some accountability partners or join the class.
Because part of Separate Life is having accountability and whatever, and that's really good. And that's one of the things, and I'm going to say women and men, but men, one of the areas that we also talk about, and we have a ministry here, our men's ministry with Pastor Bob Gay, is always have accountability. Like I have accountability partners that I talk to as you guys. So you want to have accountability partners in different areas and also have friends. Everyone's at different levels in life. If you look at all your friends are at the same level you have. You have the same political beliefs, the same things, same kids, not same kids, but your kids are around the same age, like us, like us. Like that's why I like your husband so much. Every time I talk to your husband, I always feel better at the end. All right, so what happens is we got to start holding each other accountable. So like you need to have an accountability in the area of, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this, I know it's hell. Financially, like someone that you talk to, where you have a financial advisor, someone that you can talk to, and there's be information about that, but also someone health-wise. How I started being a lot healthier was hanging around people that are healthy. And then you start to say, hey, we're going to meet, and then so we're in LA, hey, we're going to meet at Kenneth Hahn Park on Saturday, we're going to do this. Now it's really about with the kid, because see, then when you have kids, you move to what they're doing. But now it's a whole thing. When my kids were in karate, I was right there with them. I had to show up 20 minutes earlier to stretch, but you have to start doing it. And don't make excuses. Make promises.
I love it.
Bible's full of promises that God made. And you can do them as a family, you can do them individually, but you got to start by doing them, and then what? Not making excuses. All right, anything else you want to say about health? Can you tell us a little bit about health? And I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. You said that like how people walk around during the day, you can do certain things by park further away and move. Like there's another way of kind of losing weight that's just not physically working out right then and there, but it's like doing something. And it's a big word.
It's called, it's NEAT. It's non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Okay, now y'all, I said it was a big word. Now, what's
Yes.
the one that started with a T?
So,
Thermogenesis.
the thermogenesis, which is just burn.
Right. She went to school and all that stuff.
Well, and this is actually a really key point. So sometimes we're like, I don't have time to sweat out my hair. I'm not interested, right? Because that's what it requires. But the key is we sit too much. We have a sedentary lifestyle. So even if you work out for 30 minutes every day and then sit for the rest of the day, you still are decreasing your mortality.
Right.
The key is movement throughout the day. And that's why it's non-exercise activity burn is basically what it means. And so we're looking for ways to move throughout the day. And as you said, parking farther away to walk, getting up, setting your timer so you're not sitting for 3 hours.
Right.
Literally, we're supposed to get up every 30 minutes. That's what the research is saying.
Right.
Just to get up, move your body. So again, blood doesn't pool in your muscles. You don't slow down. We want to think about how can I be, a power player, as I say. So how can I be active throughout the day? Standing more than sitting, getting a standing desk. There's lots of opportunities, washing the dishes instead of a dishwasher. Making, you're like, uh-oh.
All right, go ahead.
Well, that's what kids are for. But you want to make sure, again, that you're always looking for opportunities to move your body.
Right. All right, everybody. You see, I wrote this stuff down. I know you didn't type it down. But there are, I would like for everybody online for you to type in the chat, but also for you to write down 5 things that you're going to, not just write down, but the changes you're going to make. And just from what we talked about being purpose-driven in the area of health and in doing this. One of them is that you may say, I'm going to start drinking water. 2, I'm going to start eating power plates. That's where you have a certain amount of vegetables and you have a certain amount of meat. And then also, just do this one, I'm going to call it the George rule, is before you go somewhere crazy, and they make you go, because you have to go. You go places you don't even want to go. And all they have is candy and sugar on sugar and all this other food. And then wait, number 3 is, I don't care. And it's expensive. Yeah. That you're going to eat a salad prior to going, and you're going to have your family eat a salad prior to going, and just things that you're going to do. Yeah. Whether you're going to freeze fruit, and then have your family dessert night, where you guys have a dessert, where you're taking the Greek yogurt, and you learn how to freeze this stuff, but anyway, how to work the strawberries, bananas, and the Greek yogurt, or learn how to make it your way, where you do it. And I have these from our previous meetings, and also there's something called a power plate where we do them together. But again, as I opened, God has Jeremiah 29, God has a plan, a purpose for your life, plans of hope and a future. But you need to also have a plan. God wants to prosper you, wants you to be in health, John 3:2. Be in health even as your soul prospers. She used Ephesians 2 and 10, and I got excited and get opportunity. But also is that we're God's workmanship. There is no one in the world like you. You have a fingerprint like nobody else. And you are here for a purpose in life. And for you to do it, we want you to be healthy. So we pray that you learn something, you share it with another, and then also we'll have Charlie's information in the chat so you can also get involved with Fit Through Faith. Amen. Anything else you want to say about that, or also how people can get in contact with you?
Sure.
And the Jumpstart Devotional.
Yes. Well, it's all about faith, food, and fitness. And I think ultimately, I say faith, food, and fitness fuel your future. Connect your faith first, food from God's buffet, and move your body as God intended, and you will move into purpose-driven health.
You see that? We have 3 F's now. Instead of fried food, faith,
yes.
food, all that. Now we got faith, food, and fitness. Thank you so much for joining us on the Wealth Cycle. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey family, give me a high five. I bet you there's 5 people that you can think of that you can share this with. We want to make it easy for you to ask a question. Just put it right there in the chat. We may not be able to answer all the questions, but we'll do our very best.